One.
Two. There we go. Welcome to Humanity Unboxed. Um, I don't really know what to say, Michael. We're in the alchemy of trust, and it feels like this is where we live. You know, like this is where humanity lives in this space of trust. I really
Mhm.
love your painting, and I'd love to hear the
Thank you.
story with that painting because it's really nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, it's my energy. I give a lot of energy. So that's why.
Yeah.
Do you hear any background noise?
No.
Because they felt because then I have to close the window. It's no problem.
Yeah.
But,
No.
okay.
No. I can't
No.
hear anything. All good.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we still in value. Yeah. Tell me that's why I think, like
Value. Yeah.
art.
Value is so. It's so. And I work with that. I work with that. You know me because I have to get money and somehow, and I work with that, and I see more and more that is the longer I exist, I see that it's very limited money. To value a person or to say, hey, you can do everything with money
Mm.
is BS. It doesn't work. It you cannot do everything. It makes you it's an inconvenience to be poor. I love that. An inconvenience to be poor. But
Yeah.
poverty is the same thing as being rich. It's the same thing. You have the amenities of money. You can travel by will. You can buy what you want, but it doesn't make you a better life. A lot of people
It just
cannot juggle it. It
yeah,
cannot juggle it. Yeah. So I think
it's yeah.
it's middle. It's again also like this. It's our middle that the balance is the so you don't have to be Elon with $2 trillion, or you don't have, I mean, it's just, and what we do, the power we give, the power we give Elon. I'm not saying he shouldn't have the power, but the power we give them, rich people, is just a total sell of soul and everything out. You can't say anything because your will is not, we suppressed our will so much because our
Yeah.
will is the God's will too,
Yeah.
so so our will, what you want or what you intend to live your life for, is totally ignored. No, you should be system relevant, and that's it. Dump it, give it up,
But
and it doesn't work.
do we give that power?
Yeah, we give
I
it.
was just thinking about it today. Like, there's this guy that pops up on my social media every now and then I don't know what he does. I just find it interesting. He's kind of just sitting there and say, if you weren't greedy, how much money would you need to live well? How much money do you need?
Yeah,
And then
it's
I
never
think
enough.
he's
It's never
probably an
enough. It's
influencer,
not.
but
Yeah,
it is enough because
yeah,
some problems we have is not fixed by money. So, I can't remember the words he uses. He says something like, how much money do you need to fix the things in your life?
hmm,
Like we lived in England now for 11 years so that we can have more um, freedom. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you have a South African passport, for example, you
yeah,
can't necessarily free travel. Or if you don't abide by the rules of certain places that are imposed just randomly
yeah,
on other countries, then you can't fix it with money
hmm,
necessarily. You can, I
hmm,
suppose, you can pay other people to, get a visa, but it's still an inconvenience, as such. So it's not just poverty that's an inconvenience. It
yeah,
is disempowerment, I think. And we
yeah.
often relate it to money. Money, we don't need to make money as important as we make it. I mean,
We
there's
were
important that
conditioned
I'd
to
love
need
more.
money. We were conditioned to need money.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
there's more bankers now in hospitals than they work in the hospital boards. It's a money. The most money machine is, for example, health.
Yeah.
That came out of the whole money stuff because it's a flow. They need even banks need to know where is the money flow coming, and then life and death, the fear of life and death, which we have both. We have fear of death and fear of life.
Mm.
So that is not integrated either. We haven't that integrated because humans want other humans to suppress. It's never a system. The system is not bad, because if
There's
I
no
run
issue with
this,
that.
yeah,
I don't want to suppress anybody, and I'm also
no, you don't,
yeah.
but people, I say, oh, I'm a businessman. Michelle, do that, do that, do that.
Mm.
And I get you to do it. I make it really tasty, right? Viral video, you get this, you get that. And you submit to it, and you just submit your will and everything, because I don't need to know. I can have fun when I'm retired. When retired, I
Tired.
have very much fun because my whole life was a mess,
Yeah.
but I've integrated that mess in me. So therefore I had a lot of, I feel better than ever
Mm.
now. And I was homeless and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I've integrated my messes into my life.
Mm.
But in general, the people say, "Oh, I will retire early, or will do that, and when I have the $1 million, I just don't work." Life doesn't change when you don't work. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
It just gives you less. You need the human feedback, and the human feedback is, "Hey, here's so much money. We don't need to talk to him, and or we ask him for stuff." So
Mm.
it you cannot make the life value, that the worth that we have by nature, that we are all one on one, that every soul that is alive is benevolent, unless it was conditioned to be mean, and conditioned to be harsh and taken advantage. But because, like we said, it takes a victim to make a victim, and the bullies are victims, and they say, "Oh, you have to." Yeah, woman. I just talked to a friend of mine, and her husband started drinking again. They have a 7-year-old child. I said, "Hey, this is amazing." They always think about themselves or whatever, but I guarantee he was abused too, because that keeps going. The abuse keeps on going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I hear kind of simmers of connection, like there is through this system relevance or this conditioning of
yeah,
hierarchical kind of,
yeah,
I'm the victim, then I become the bully. So I've now
yeah.
kind of, moved up in the thing, or I was the victim and now I'm the authority,
Martyr, the
whatever,
martyr. I'm
the
the
whatever.
priest, the martyr.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like it's the same thing as control. So
Yeah, but there's no
controlling it.
connection within that, is there? Because I've removed myself from you, so I can no longer see you as an equal because I'm
No,
now
no, no,
different to
no.
you.
I don't
Yeah,
want to see you. I don't want to see you, because then I have to own that
yeah,
I'm you and you are
yeah, yeah,
me.
yeah,
I have to
yeah,
own that, and I
yeah,
don't want to connect with that. And the system relevance, it's better to be segregated than often it's better to be segregated, because you can just take your position right now and hold on to that position as long as you can till somebody throws you out. And in system is much better than human in terms of, it shows you, hey, that's not gonna last forever if you're president. Once you're gone, I mean, how many ministers has England had? And they're gone and they're
yeah,
gone. You don't hear from him.
yeah,
Here and there from Blair perhaps, but because he was so liked. But you know,
yeah. Well, he was also so cruel and horrible.
I know, but I'm saying,
Winston
you know,
Churchill or whoever it was,
Hitler was liked.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
So
Charisma is kind of a given for these people
yeah,
in power, but and yet we go back to this in power story. Who's giving them the power? It's the system. The system is
yeah,
giving them power.
yeah. It is, yes, and that's the misjudge that, because you can't just make an idea for everybody. See, we said we make system to help the people. All the people in the tribe. We've talked about horses or food or kids in a tribe. Yes, that would be great, but people have forgotten that. People have forgotten that everybody is different, and then the system takes over and wants to get humans to adapt. Like I just talked to you about the Zoom call and all this stuff. So they
Yeah,
get a new thing, a new iPhone, and you totally cannot even handle it because everything is different. To make
yeah.
it yours, to make it yours.
And
So
that creates like a distraction, doesn't it? Because now we're
yeah,
distracted by whatever. World Cup or
Mhm.
whatever it is, this thing
Yeah.
that's going on that's actually irrelevant. But it takes our attention away from whatever our journey is, from whatever it is that we are,
naturally wanted to
exploring.
do.
Yeah,
For example, you want to work with animals. You can't work with animals because you have to do this and that and system and taxes and whatever, and you can't
yeah,
really understand. So you want to raise kids and want to understand the raising of the kids and the education. You can't do that. They won't allow it. But you have the system, and they take care of your education, and then that's the conditioning. That's the
yeah.
conditioning. This system can keep going on versus the system cannot keep going on, if it doesn't update. If the
Yeah.
system doesn't update to humans, it cannot go on. It
But
will
it does
fail.
though, because the humans
Uh,
just don't, they just bow to the system. I mean, the education
yeah,
system is a
because
good
we are benevolent.
example. Yeah.
We love monies. We love monkeys. And when you say to us, when somebody is really in the corner and they fight flight and he lashes out, we're afraid of the cat when the cat or the dog lashes out because it's in fight flight. So we're not, oh my God, what was there? And so then we allow that to happen, and then the person thinks that is in fight flight, and ego thinks, okay, it's okay what I did, because otherwise she would say no. I know Michelle. Michelle would say no, but she didn't say no. She put her head down and left.
Yeah.
You know,
So manipulation, really.
yeah,
That's what the system
manipulation.
does, to manipulate
Yeah,
us to, follow it
one,
or
and
think
they
that
can't
it's
work
going
together. The systems can't work together.
to.
That because they have the boundaries so strong that they cannot work together. It's all a mess all over, because a lot of stuff is because systems cannot talk to each other. My system with 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. But yet, here's the paper, here's the list, phone these people.
Yeah, all the
And
stuff
so
is.
you go
There
in the
was nothing they missed
circle.
from me. There
Yeah,
was nothing they missed from me. I gave them everything, and you with your passport, you gave them everything. But there
yeah,
was always something that is
yeah.
not,
Well,
and that's a
which now
distraction.
move through, which is, it's there, but it takes a lot, doesn't it,
Yeah.
to
Hmm.
comply, to get
Yeah.
to the point where it's like, okay, now,
Because you have to comply, not only see it started when you have to comply to what the system can do, but now the system demands that you apply to certain
mm,
things. So you have to be inhumane applying to the system that the system attacked. So you're using AI, you're using computers, all to talk to whom? Nobody, because nobody is there. You know.
yeah, yeah.
You can't even talk to humans there in the system because it's not there.
Yeah, and you also can't trust what you're being told by the system because the
Exactly.
human can go and say, "Oh, sorry, that wasn't right." So there's no accountability within that space.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of
That's why they
research that
call it
I'm doing.
accountability. That's why they
Yeah,
call it the accountability. Because responsibility, I lose your friendship, right? Or you lose mine.
yeah,
But hey, accountability, who is the better lawyer? That wins. So
yeah,
money again, the wins. Whoever wins the accountability, is it's accountability is not responsibility. Responsibility is the ability to respond correctly. And when you can't do that, the relationship is gone.
yeah,
And in the systems, you are gone. If you cannot say the right things, and it's completely on a inhumane where you need five senses usually to interact with you. In the system, I need to just be right, binary, right or wrong, and then it throws you out. So that's
yeah.
that's inhumane, actually. So when systems get too old, they become inhumane automatically. So they're anti-human, which you
They
see
are
in war,
inhumane from the start.
61 wars.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they're
they're never human. There's no
then you
human element to them.
no, and they
Yeah,
use human to make money. So when I can show in a war that so and so many people died, that's a justification to keep the war going financially. See, if I say there's so many people, just Russia and Ukraine, if there's so much going on there, 10,000 people die every month, there's a justification that the banks and stuff do something for it because they do it for the humans. But why do we have 61 wars? Because the system lives off humans, to waste humans, to explode, to use a bomb that's more important than infrastructure, that you have a bus running and your kids can go to school. That's...
Yeah. Until humans step in, until humans take a responsibility and say, this isn't working,
I think there's the will coming in, because the people say, look, we are herd animals, and everybody, a herd species. So say, Michelle does this, Lisa does that, and Frank does this, and Carl does this. And you just say, what are they doing? 90% do this, and you just do it. You have no self-will that you...
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it from me. I couldn't do it differently because I was sick, but I had to be me. There was no other... If I would try to fit in, I would have to give up.
And this is what a lot of people do, though, not of their own fault, just because they don't...
It's nobody... We don't fault on this podcast.
No. And it's so sad to see that people, I mean, think that it's the only way to go to disappear, so that by the time I can retire, then I can paint or draw or read,
or then whatever, or play with whatever.
Like.
Get a hamster to play with. I'm just saying, to get a little animal, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work. You cannot adjust your life to what most people do, because that would be against nature. Nature made you one of one. They don't want you to be exactly like me. I don't want to be like you, or they wanted to be like us. Nobody should be like us. They should be different.
Yeah.
They should be when they should.
This is where
natural.
This is where the herd issue there's a problem with it, the sheep mentality. We can talk about sheep or cows, because the cows are very different from each other. The sheep are very similar, or that's how I see it. Or tribe compared to the herd aspect. I mean, this is what systems use, and systems have people in them. People are the voices of these systems. They are the ones that put us in this us and them, scenario of immigrants, for example. Immigrants as in people running away from their homes.
It's a money-making scheme.
Yeah.
There's a money...
They need to conform, because you have to be so happy
and we can use the system to get them
in.
Yeah.
And then they have to disappear. So they have to let go of their culture, because otherwise they are unthankful. What's the word? They're not
appreciative.
They're not grateful for what has been given to them. But these are the same people that are bombing their homes. So it creates this complete resentment,
and then one of the and they show only the people that are... They don't show the people on media that were of the locals there. So they show only the immigrants and say, oh, there's a war, because the more that is a problem, the more the system gets. See, when immigrants are homeless, a real problem, then the money is justified. Nobody asks how much money and the tax is an income forever. The taxes just comes,
Yeah.
And I've seen so much, in my time as a homeless. It was unbelievable. It just all this, the programming, the conditioning they give you through media is insane. And media is such a conditioning tool. It is not an information tool. It's a condition. I would say social media is a better informational tool, because one-on-oneness post their own, even if they're total system relevant and let's say influencers, they still do their own voice. They have their own voice, and therefore you get a
The voice isn't all the same, depending on what your algorithm feeds you, obviously. But there's
in five channels, the voice is the same.
Yeah.
And my friend was 6 weeks in Europe. He went from all over. He went Germany, Prague, Switzerland, Norway, all over. 6 months, 6 weeks. And he says completely different what he saw. What he saw, it's so bad in Frankfurt. He lived next to the airport, next to the train station, which is the area. It's just, no, it's not like this. And they say Frankfurt is done, right? And they say London is done. And you go to London here and then, it's not done. There is stuff happening, but we're not amplifying only the stuff that's not happening. We need to amplify the stuff that works,
Well, it's the full picture, It's even like social media, just because I post about I'm proud of my son or daughter.
I love it.
Days,
I love them. I
other
love them
days
monkeys running
they
around.
make me angry. I don't post about that, It doesn't make them perfect or me perfect or any of them. It's just because that is
also, you don't need attention. You don't need attention. You
No.
could film there when you have an argument, but that would be getting attention that way.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want that. No, that's
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. So it's all relational. It's all how we want to see
Balance,
the
balance,
world.
balance, balance. Not just negative, not just positive, both.
Yeah.
Devil and the God and devil. And God created the devil that we see God and devil, the difference. So it's just both. You have to accept both. You don't have to. You're not condoning it. You're not having to go there, but don't say I'm not only doing positive stuff. I'm only doing the good stuff, and I'm not me. Yeah.
Or I
You gotta
pretend
be
that
you.
everything's fine all the time. Like it isn't always fine because
life is a school. Life is the highest school that we have. So it's made challenges. Life makes challenges to handle it, to learn. And the challenge you can only take in the now, because in the future and past, that's creating fear, either from the past, what was and what will be, the potential. But now, right now, do you have a fear? Even though, let's say you have to move out tomorrow, you wouldn't have fear talking to me right now in this moment. You just make yourself fear because you said tomorrow I need to move out, or I have no home tomorrow, or whatever, So it just made up. When you're in the now, you just take life as, okay, there's an exercise. Okay, I have to handle joy. I have to handle hardship. I have to handle jealousy. I have to handle anger. I have to handle, whatever is thrown at me. You do. That's why this is such a high level, and there's heaven on earth to discover, not to just, you're not born and see heaven on earth. No, you have to find it. You have to be conscious enough. You have to change your perception in a way that you can see it.
Yeah. And there was something I wanted to say. No, I can't
remember. Say it. I'm sorry.
I can't remember what it was, but it's fear. There's trust. So it's difficult sometimes to trust that everything's going to be okay. Because what is everything's going to be okay?
That whatever happens, that you can handle it. No, that's the only thing you have. You can have extreme fear, but you're getting through, because in your life you went, how many crises did you have in your life? 100,000? And you went always through.
Yeah.
It. So that comes from experience. And that comes from experience when you say, I know I had hard times, I had this, I had that. But I can handle it if I stay in the moment, if I don't worry much in the future. So I attract it. You don't want to attract it. You say, I want this to work. I want this to work. And then you can do it.
And that's the only way bringing it back to kind of this adding value, for us to be able to add value, whatever that is. And value for me has nothing to do with money. It's more related to connection,
also the humanity, the nature.
To be able to express myself, I need to find ways to trust that everything's going to be okay. It's
a perspective. You only need a perspective. You say, if I do this, nothing can really happen other than the worst thing that happened is that person says no, but that shouldn't be a fear at all, that a person says no, if that is not connected to a life and death position. But if a person says yes or no, it's a choice. And when you have everybody's a one of one, they have the choice to say yes or no, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes there are things that feel like life or death.
Yeah.
That is still stuff that we have to work through and kind of trust that, I suppose it's got to do with being in touch with, like going back to the alchemist. I've been kind of
Yeah.
thinking and going, to trust the omens, to be able to see the synchronicities in life, to be able to know that you're not just, thrown
But
at
the
random in
synchronicity
space.
refers to you.
Yeah.
The synchronicity. So Claire can have a synchronicity and you never feel it, for
Oh yes,
example.
no, of course. There's
So there's no interaction between things. You can say as a couple, we go there and the synchronicities, all of a sudden you find a house together. But
yeah.
who has created that? You or your husband, that's,
Well, it's both of us, but both of
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah,
if
because
we're
he
on the
was
same
there,
path,
you created it,
then
and he was there. So,
yeah.
so that's and everything is synchronicity, but it doesn't mean the fear. Also, the fear of dying is when you have an accident. It's a shock. That's digesting a shock. Basically, because some people don't get out of an accident for 3-4 years, or a trauma of losing a child or something.
Yeah.
We never talk about the positive either, but that's always negative at such a weight, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. When you look at negative, it doesn't have a weight. It just shows us the difference and makes us appreciate and gratitude of what we have. So
Yeah.
look, you have a perfect life. Everything is perfect. And I says, you know what? You should have a Ferrari. You should have this. You should have that. So I'm talking you out of what you have, and that's definitely joy. You don't need to be a doctor. I said, Michelle, just do the doctorate. You get the double doctorate. You get the professor. You get that. And then, so for what? Because
Yeah.
that person says to the other person, you should do that, or you must do that. I think that's where we get us in situation that we can't even survive. Because if we wouldn't go in situation like that, what the society says, what system says, what other people bullies say, we would never even have half the problems. Humans don't have a problem. They always can fix it with what we have, who we are, what we have.
Yeah.
System makes trouble because it's a massive amount of people get fired, a massive amount of people get sick, it's always generalized. The generalization has so many, we put that in the milk and everybody got that. We put that in the sugar, this thing. Yeah, when we generalize humans and treat them like a sheep herd,
Yeah. But this is the systems though, there's stuff that we do not consent to that is,
it's
become part of
secretly,
our
yeah,
life. Yeah.
that's manipulation. I'm not
Yeah.
going to tell you. I said this is the greatest car, but when you drive in that car, you smell something and then you get sick. From that smell you get sick, or get an EV car and the electromagnetic vibration knocks you out because they haven't handled that yet.
Yeah.
They have handled it, but they're not using it because it costs more money.
Mm.
So it's always if you make the God money instead of that your value is perfect, no matter what the people say, that's the hard thing. I think that's really when it always ends up in, you can't have a house because a house is an asset. You can't have a room is an asset. You can't have a car because that's an asset. And these stuff, whatever an asset is, the things, they get taxed, they get multiple tax, they get, because that's the people think they need that, and therefore they pay everything. I don't have a car for
Yeah.
20 years, by the way. Over
Yeah.
20 years, yeah. So
That's
in California,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see, I would struggle a lot. I drive
Now
a
you
lot.
have kids too,
Just,
but if you wouldn't
yeah,
have kids, yeah,
yeah. but I also live more remotely, and usually, you know, there's no
Yeah,
buses or public transport or anything like
exactly. Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. Well, thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, that was it. When should we? Are
Yeah.
we? I don't want to keep you busy before you move. I
Oh,
want
yeah.
to.
Well, we will talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will carry on with our humanity
Thank you. And
until
life is good, just how you look at it.
yeah, yeah,
We keep saying that. Yeah.
yeah. Life is
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
It can be tricky though.
Yeah, but that is the learning. If it
Yeah,
wasn't tricky, you wouldn't learn. So it
exactly.
has to be tricky. It has to be unknown, and it has to be, yeah, it has to be that.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you don't learn. You don't grow.
yeah,
Yeah.
true.